So it's summertime here in Southern California and I'm in the mood for a sweet summer treat. So today I'm going to make Belizean coconut ideal. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. So these are the ingredients that we're going to need to make our coconut ideal. We're going to need the milk from one coconut, and it's not the water, even though that has water in it if you can hear that. It's the actual milk, and I'm going to show you how to extract that milk just in case you guys didn't watch my video yet on how to make coconut milk from scratch. We don't want the milk that's in the can because it has preservatives and it'll leave an aftertaste. It won't make our treat taste so good, okay? We're going to need 2 cans of evaporated milk. Any brand will do. A can of sweetened condensed, any brand. And cinnamon, of course. This is the spice that will give this ideal its kick. I went to the store and I had a hard time finding these type of sandwich bags that's not reclosable. Remember the one from back in yesteryear? We just kind of stick the sandwich in there and you kind of fold it over and you have your sandwich bag. Well, these are kind of hard to find now because everything is the reclosable one, or Ziploc is one of the more popular brand as you know it. You know, sometimes we get confused. We call these things by their brand name rather than what they are, right? Kind of like you say Kleenex instead of a paper tissue. Now, I've done one for practice. This is just basically water that's in here, but when we make our sweet treat right here, we're going to put it in a bag and we're going to tie off the end kind of like this. And then we're going to put it in the freezer, and then when it's frozen, we'll serve it. So it's just basically a summer treat. In Belize, it's called Ideal, and over here in America, it's called Icee, and by some other names too, by their brand names. But for today, we're making this, and keep in mind that what I'm doing here right now will also be used later on to make ice cream in the future in our ice cream tub, okay? Take a look at our beautiful little coconut, right? I want to show you guys that, see right here, we have like 3 eyes, right? Or I call it 2 eyes and a mouth. Now, if you turn the coconut this way, you'll still see the 2 eyes and a mouth, right? And this way, well, there's only one on the top. So how do you know how to get into this coconut easily? You look for the eyes that have the eyebrows. See right there? It looks like it has eyebrows. Those 2 are going to be really dense and hard. You're not going to be able to get in. So the bottom one is actually going to be soft. And all you do is take your knife like that. And you get into your little coconut. And this is how you remove the water before we crack it open, okay? Okay, so here I am taking the water out of the coconut. And we're not going to use this water to make this recipe, okay? We're going to actually get the coconut out of the shell, and we're going to grate it and extract the milk out of it to put with these other milks right here to make this wonderful sweet treat. So we just want to get the water out. Sometimes there's more water in the coconut when it's younger, but this one's old and tired. See how brown it is? But this is the kind that we want because the meat inside can actually be grated, but I'm not going to use a grater. I'm going to use my NutriBullet. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all the water out, and then I'm going to try a different method to open the coconut because Joe usually uses a machete or a machete or a machete, whichever way you know it. And I'm not good at that. I think I'm going to take my hand off if I try to do that. So I'm actually going to try a different method to get this coconut open, okay? I'm making a big old mess of some of the water draining. Remember we had the 2 eyes with the eyebrow and the part that we got in from. Well, I'm just taking a cleaver, and I'm just going to turn the coconut this way so all the eyes are on that side. And I'm going to close my eye. Usually I should use goggles. Can't very well close my eye and do this at the same time, right? See, voila. Basically, that's how we get the coconut open without having to use a machete. And now I'm going to get a little peeling knife and just kind of peel the meat out from here so we can get it in a NutriBullet, okay? So I wanted you guys to see it up close and personal. This is our face here again. These are our 2 eyes with the eyebrows, and this is the one that we got in through for the water. Then I just kind of turned it this way, and I just kind of hammered it a couple of times with that, the cleaver, and then it's open, okay? So that's an easier way to get inside the coconut. All I can say is thank God for the NutriBullet, because I got the coconut out of the shell, and I put it in small pieces, and then I just added some water and kind of nuked it in the NutriBullet. So now we're going to strain this to get the coconut milk, all right? Okay, I brought Joe in to instruct me. And what we're going to do is like squeeze it through the strainer, right? So we're going to pick up some of the flakes or the trash. We're going to put it through the strainer. See how much milk we're getting already, guys? Set that aside. I remember seeing my Aunt Tylene used to do this to make the rice and beans every Sunday. Just get her fresh coconut milk. So all we need is maybe about 13 or so fluid ounce of coconut milk, just to give it the coconut flavor for the ideal, because you can see we already have a lot of evaporated milk. We already have a lot of condensed milk. And so basically, we're just trying to get some coconut milk. It looks rich, doesn't it? And if you need more milk, you can always add more water to the flakes, all right? Or more water to the trash. So I'm gonna pour this out in a measuring cup and see how much milk we got here. But I used the whole coconut. If we need more, we'll add more water to the flakes. But hang on a second, let me pour this out and see how much we have. All right, so here we are. I've got my measuring cup. Let's see how much milk we got. So we got right about 10 ounces. I'll put some water on it and get a little bit more because I want more like 13 or 14 ounces. Okay, so in the meanwhile, let's get this part of our ideal going. And I think when I was little, any ideal that was made with any kind of milk would be called Milky Way, right? Milky Way ideal. So this is all we're gonna do. Sweetened condensed milk. And then I'm gonna add our coconut milk that we extracted from our coconut. And we're gonna mix it real well, okay? Just hang on a second, let me get my coconut milk. So all I did was add a little bit more water to the flakes or the trash. And I'm putting it in there, and I'm at about 15 or so ounces. And remember, this coconut milk is a lot for the flavor in our ideal, okay? So I had that already with all the milks added in, the evap and the condense. So I'm adding the coconut milk. That's going to give it a really wonderful flavor. So I'm going to get a pot spoon or a stirring spoon, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to mix it really, really well. And remember, this is how we make ice cream too. And I bought a new ice cream tub, so we'll be making some ice cream really soon. Probably the same weekend to put up at a later date. Now you have an option that you can do. This is really stirred well. I can feel the condensed milk is no longer thick on the bottom. And you have an option that you can do. You could get a little bit of the flakes like this right here, and you could sprinkle in there. I'm not going to do a whole lot because the kids don't like the coconut flakes too much in anything. Just put a little bit in there to add some uniqueness to it. And this is the trick right here, okay? We add the cinnamon. The cinnamon's going to be on the top. And I would say that's a good tablespoon of cinnamon. And now what we're going to do next is we're going to fill our little bags of this solution so we could set it to freeze. I'm going to go wash off my hands. Let me get something to measure with, because we kind of want to measure a cup, because if you put too much in these bags, you won't be able to tie it, okay? So remember me telling you this is plain old school sandwich bags. And what I'm going to do is like, oh, that's not quite a cup. Let's get a cup. So that's a cup. Making a big old mess, huh? You just get it in there. And then what you want to do is tie this off. I'm going to twist it around, kind of like when you're getting ready to tie up your hair. Get it through here. Make a big old tight knot. And this one's done. This one's ready. Now if I had the machine that could seal it, it would be sealed and perfect, like this end. But this is done. And we're going to put this away. We don't want to set this like on the shelf for the refrigerator, especially if you have the shelf that's kind of like a grate or a grid. You don't want to set it, because then it's going to sit there and it's going to make a design in the bag. So we're going to put this like in some kind of plastic bowl or something to set them all on top of each other, okay? So let's make another one. We're going to try to get it to where I don't make a mess, because I want it to tie easy, not get slippery. So we put the other one in there. And tie it again real well, because when this is frozen, you're going to bite a hole up here and you're going to be sucking the contents of this out. You're not going to undo this again, okay? So here's another one. Let me show you how they're all ready on the counter. And I'm going to bag off all the rest of this, and when I'm done I'll tell you how much I got. So here we go. I'm putting it in this bowl to put in the freezer, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you're going to want to serve more people this stuff, you're going to have to use more evaporated milk, more condensed milk, more coconut milk, more everything, okay? But for right now, all we want is this because we don't want to start eating up this stuff and gain weight and all that stuff. But see how the cinnamon, see how it's kind of floating around in there? That's how it's going to float around and get hardened in there once it gets frozen, okay? So I'm going to take this to the freezer. So I have 2 freezers, right? And both of them are the same way. Look, it has like that grid or grate or whatever you want to call that. It's not like a solid piece of glass. So when you set the ideal on it, see how it starts falling into the cracks? Well, that's how it's going to create a pattern in your bag. So that's why I was telling you to just put it in a bowl instead of just setting it on the shelf like that. So I've allowed the ideals to freeze overnight, and here is our finished product. Here they are. I know they're not the smoothest, prettiest looking things. I think I could have gotten more liquid in the bag, but it was giving me a little bit of trouble to tie. See, this one's fatter and juicier. But this is basically what it is. It's kind of like what Americans would know as an Icee, but it's homemade. There's no preservatives. And you would bite a hole here and kind of suck and get all the ingredients out. But I wouldn't advise to bite plastic bags because it's not safe. You can just like breathe in at the same time and it goes down and covers your breathing tube. So I would get a knife and open it or a scissors or something and just eat it, just for safety. But this is coconut ideal, and we're gonna make other ideals in the future, okay, different flavors. But so far this is how we're doing it because we don't have a sealing machine. Okay, so that totally took me back to my childhood in Belize. Who remember Valencia Ideal, right? That was like the best. Well, anyways, this is our homemade ideal. This flavor is coconut ideal, and if you notice, we started from scratch with the coconut, right? This is awesome, no preservatives. You guys are gonna enjoy this. Remember not to eat too much of this because this is just a lot of sugar. Just eat one now and again for the summer, okay? Hope you guys enjoy. Anyways, thanks for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for picking up the book, for sharing the show with your friends and family, and for everything that you do to be a support. Until I see you again, take care.